So we had a brilliant Munster final yesterday, the old cliched game of two halves and all that, and I'm delighted to say the Cork manager John Meyler has made some time for us. Evening, John.
Evening, Joe.
How does a victorious Cork manager celebrate a Munster final in 2018? What did you do?
Nothing. Spent the day with my wife, really. I'm on holidays at the moment, and just looking forward to the All-Ireland semi-final now in 4 weeks' time and get ready for that. We just need to have a chat and regroup and, reinforce the message again and get ready for Croke Park in 4 weeks' time. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd say a 4 week break is very welcome for everybody just about now. It's been a fairly epic few months.
Well, the 6 weeks of the Munster Championship has been hectic. We've had 5 matches in 6 weeks, so, that has taken its toll both mentally, socially and physically. And, the players are drained from that. From those 5 matches, and there've been some incredible games of hurling, incredible matches, tension. And yesterday with 45,000 people in Thurles, and a fiercely exciting game. So look, we've given them a few days off to regroup, and we need to get back on the wagon again now this week and get ready then for 3 or 4 weeks time.
Will you? Yeah, because I was wondering if you'd give them the whole week off and maybe take 10 days off, but you'll have them back in this week.
No, we'll have a chat ourselves. The management will have a chat, and we'll see where we are. And we'll meet them up. The under-21s are playing Tipperary on Wednesday night here in Park and Keeve. So there's 10 of them involved in that match. So they won't be involved this week anyway. So look, it's a hectic few days for Cork hurling, but it's great to have the under-21 team in the Munster final on Wednesday night as well.
I presume it's been a very enjoyable time, the hectic nature of it, and game after game after game.
Yeah, look, I'm on record as saying I think this is the way forward. You've had 5 matches, we've had 5 matches in Cork in the Munster Championship. We've had 250,000 people have watched the Munster Championship. There's been incredible entertainment, incredible value, and people are really voting with their feet. And, you had 45,000 people there yesterday. So, but people will go and watch matches every week. So, I think the GA needs to look seriously at the structure of it and just keep playing the matches regularly. And everyone would say it has been a fantastic championship, and that's the way forward.
So I presume 28, 29 minutes into yesterday's game, you're a pretty frustrated onlooker.
Yeah, look, I had said to Kieran Froggy on the sideline, just want to get to half time, and and I said, Jesus, Peter Duggan got a great goal, and they went 8 points up, and I just said, look, if we could just get to half time and regroup and just recharge and refocus the lads, and then Luke stepped up with the goal, and it was critical, and Coleman cut the sideline over, and we went in 4 points down, and which was much better than 8 points down. So it gave us just an opportunity to regroup and just get the message back to them again. And and in fairness, Donald and Proggy really had a clear, concise message for them at half time, and the senior lads stood up then as well as the younger lads. So look, we didn't panic, and we just composure at half time, and that was really it.
Yeah, and what was that concise message that you gave them?
Just to stick to what we've done in the 4 matches. I know watching us sometimes it's frustrating because we against Tipperary we went 9 points up, and then we just barely held on to draw. And the same with Limerick, we were 3 down and we went to a point up. And so it's been a roller coaster in a sense of some of the matches, but we knew that was always in the tank. And that critical goal and a point just before half time, got us into the dressing room 4 down. So, it focused our minds then on the second half. And, then we came out, Fitzy got a point, and, we got quick early scores on Clare, and it was level after about 10 minutes. So, and then we just drove on then and really cemented our performance then midway through the second half.
Yeah, it was the 48th minute when you took the lead, and then it was handbrake off, and you went away with the game really brilliantly. Yep. I suppose as a manager, John, and you know this well, you've been in the game a long time, you more often than not take criticism, and you're the guy everybody blames. That's kind of the deal, unfortunately. But everybody's given you plenty of praise this afternoon for the changes you made at half time. Well, go on. You want to jump in already before I can give you the compliment? Go on.
No, there's no compliments really. It's not about me, and I've made this point. Like, I have a fantastic management team with me, and Breen Hurley and all the lads in the stats and Kieran Donald, Shawnee, Declan O'Sullivan, everybody has an input, and you know what I mean. It wasn't me that came up with the switches; like we all came up with the switches as a management team. So like they deserve great credit, and just to see where we were at half time, and Joycey has played centre back, and we rotated the centre back position between Joyce and Mark Coleman and Mark Ellis.
Yeah.
Fitzy has played centre forward, and odd time he came on. He started against Tipperary in the league last year, and centre forward did very well. And Damien was under pressure from John Conlon, so we needed to do something there. And putting Spillane on him, kept Conlon quiet for the second half, and that we had mentioned those changes before the game, so it's credit due to the management team as distinct from me.
Fair enough. No, I'll definitely extend it to everybody. And if people didn't catch the game, so John Conlon in particular was looking like man of the match in waiting at half time, and as you said, you put Colm Spillane on him, you moved Cahalane to corner back, Christopher Joyce went to centre back, Cadigan wing back, Daniel Carney seemed to drop back to midfield, Darragh Fitzgibbon moved to centre forward, and Conor Lehane went to wing forward. So that's, I was going to ask, because you've sort of answered the question, that's a lot of moving parts. It is interesting that you knew that was potentially on the cards beforehand. A lot of those changes were ready to go. Yeah,
like that. Look, you could have rephrased the question to me and say you got your matchups wrong with Conlon and Damien. Like, why you put Spillane on him day one? And
and what's the answer to that question?
Well, we got him wrong because I would say I got it wrong because we ended up putting Colm on Conlon. Conlon was unmarkable in the first half, and it was incredible. Anytime the ball went in there, he just got it turned over the back. So we had to do something. So it was a case of either Cadigan going back there or Colm Spillane, and Cadigan was doing a good job on Peter Duggan. So it was simply a case then of putting Damien on Pod Collins and putting Colm in full back, and that worked for us. And we're flexible in terms of the players. Players can play in different positions, and they have the freedom to do that. And that the game is so fluid today that maybe a guy might go better in a different position on different days. So look, it just worked yesterday, and hopefully we get it right the next day. You know what I mean? So,
So it's clear that you really value the contribution of your backroom team and their opinions and how they're seeing the game
100%,
go.
Yeah.
Look, I was going to ask, what's it like trying to communicate with each other, say, on the sideline during games? Probably a bit easier at half time where you get into the cool and quiet of a dressing room, but when you're out there on the sideline trying to all communicate with each other, do you have a method for that, John, that you've agreed beforehand, or is it just how you see it and how it feels at the time? It must be difficult with the noise and everything going on.
It's difficult with the noise, but like we all have experience of standing on the sideline, and we see things differently. It's how you communicate that message. And probably is the Mayor Forna, so like he's running in and out of the pitch, and I have the lads then behind, etc. With the stats guys and that, and everybody's connected up. Every management team has the same structure, and it's just how you convey the message. It's wrong, but you just need to be able to convey the message to the pitch, and that sometimes can be difficult. And you kind of have to rehearse those situations before matches and try and understand what if scenarios are going to happen. What if they'll do this, that, and that. So you have it rehearsed. So look, it worked yesterday. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all guilty of scoreboard journalism, and if you lose yesterday, you're a villain, and if you win, you're a hero. I noticed that Gary Keegan is back involved with the team this year. I was just reading quotes of yours from earlier on in the year where you said Gary would be involved. He came in last year, and he came in to create a culture around the team, a culture of standards and consistent behaviours. He talks about the process. We hear that all the time, the process as distinct from the outcome, and we need to create that culture. And last year I think 12 under-21s came up to the team, so you're trying to create something and continue that with Keegan. I found that very interesting because I think, and I don't know, were you aware of it or did you get that sense, but maybe there might have been a feeling that you were an old school manager with old school ideas. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, but maybe wouldn't have been as open to, talk like process and this kind of stuff. It seems that you're definitely moving with the times anyway, or conscious of trying to.
No, I'm old school. I'm 61 years of age. I've been around the block. I've been everywhere, coaching for the last nearly 30 years. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's old methods and there's the new methods. But it's to get the balance between the old and the new. So that the old style coaching might necessarily fit in with the new style of coaching, but it's just to get the balance between that, and that Gary has brought that sense of, I suppose, calmness really, and that sense of calmness, professionalism to it, and his side of the house compared to my side of the house, and even Proudly's side. So we all have different roles, we all have different inputs, and it's a matter of creating, I suppose, the cultural working environment, where everybody individually can flourish, but everybody collectively then can come together as well. So it's not just about me. I'm my old school, yes I am, because I'm 61.
Yeah.
But you have to embrace the modern way of thinking. You have to embrace the modern type of player, the demands on him. And my job is to create that, working environment that allows people like the likes of Coleman, Shane Kingston, Fitzgibbon, Luke Meade, Robbie Uffley, all these guys to develop in that. But you also have then the likes of Nash and Bill Cooper and Hoggy Lahan, Harnedy to allow them to develop within that with the young fellas. So, there's 4 or 5 different groups within the 35 in the team, different age groups we'll call it. And I think my job is just to create that environment where they will all flourish. And then Gary, that's his forte, and he's been excellent with them.
Yeah, and you're clearly open to him doing that. I don't know if there's examples that jump to mind. Are there certain old school things, so you've been maybe managing 30 odd years now, close to it, are there certain old school things that you've left behind that just don't seem to translate into 2018?
Yeah, the old bashing on the wall and flex few hurleys off the table in the middle of the dressing room, those days are gone. And so the dressing room, I was
hoping you'd cracked a few hurleys on the table yesterday.
No, I haven't. I haven't all year. Sometimes you think that's the best way, but it's not. Sometimes it's actually the calm way of doing it, and that you have to have a rationale for talking to players now. And guys are far more educated. Guys are, I suppose, they're far more understanding of the mental side of things, the psychological side of things. Where. Go back the old days, when Gerald Maximus was in, and Charlie and Roti and those were involved with me with the bars, or Johnny Clifford with Cork, and they might bang a hurley off the table, you got their attention then, where now that wouldn't get players' attention. So I've left things behind me. I've tried to bring in new things, and I'm still bringing the old school, just a lot of old school tactics and techniques which are useful today. So it's getting the right balance again,
no doubt, Yeah, because it's not like everything that was done was wrong. And so what things have you carried on? What stuff do you see this Cork side have that things that you would have loved to see in a team even 10, 15, 20 years ago as well, that you've tried to imbue this Cork team with?
The Cork hurling is about skill. The Cork hurling down through the years has always been about skill. It has always been about skillful, speedy players who have tremendous technique. And you've seen that down through the years with incredibly skillful players. And we have some of those now at the moment, like Lahan, Hoggy, Harnedy, Fitzy, Shane Kingston, really, top class skillful hurlers with speed to burn, and that's what's always been here in Cork. And we've tried to develop and get them to grow within that culture, and that's what Cork hurling is about as well. Passion as well, and
Yeah. One last question, actually. I think it's struck a lot of people, and I dare say you may not have had a chance to watch Galway against Kilkenny back yet. You're probably busy, but it was very interesting to watch the two games back to back on television and contrast the styles. And so you talk about the skill and the movement and the speed and all the things that we saw, the free flowing nature at times of Cork Clare. And it did seem like Kilkenny-Galway was about intensity and big hits and physicality and dominance in the air. And that's going to be a real clash of styles when the Cork-Clare style meets the Galway-Kilkenny style later on in the championship. How as a manager, do you counter a side, I suppose particularly like Galway, but any side with like huge physicality and dominance in the air and a game that's about hooking and stopping teams' play as much as anything?
Look, we're focused on the semi-finals first, and I, at this point in time, I don't know who we're playing.
Sure, but I'm just talking in theory,
Yeah, but you focus on your strengths, and you look at you know, the strengths and weaknesses of Galway or Kilkenny, you know what those teams are.
Yeah.
So you have to look at that. The minute you know who you're playing, then you really have to tailor your training to meet the requirements of the opposition. So, you know, the Galway are extremely skillful players. Everyone said they're all big men, but, you know, Joe Canning and Conor Whelan and those, they're super skilled players as well. They're super stick, like TJ Reid, those guys in Kilkenny. You know, they're physical players. They're strong, but they're also extremely skillful.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, Cork players are probably not as physical, but you know, we've one or two, Damien, Colin Spillane, Joycey, Bill Cooper, and that they're extremely physical players. They're extremely strong with, you know, the skill and speed then of Fitzgibbon, Kingston and those, and you know, but look, you have to meet the opposition, whatever comes in front of you, and we look forward to that in 4 weeks' time. Yeah,
I'm sure whoever you meet will be a great game. I guess I should have maybe rephrased the question as, do you try and take them on physically? Is that, you know, or do you try and almost go around them? That's kind of the other way of putting it. I
was told myself years ago not to take on a certain player from Kilkenny. Years ago, Frank Cummins, and you know, he was a giant of a man, and somebody said to me that you should go around him rather than through him, because he'd kill you if you try to go through. He'd kill you. So you know, you have to think, and you have to be cute, and you have to be smart about the opposition that you're playing and how you're going to beat them.
Did you try go round him? Did you try go round him, or did you try go through him?
No, I didn't go near him. If Frank caught me in those days, he'd kill you. So. You know, some of these guys, you stay well away. You run around.
Yeah, no doubt. It sounds like you're enjoying all this a lot. I guess it's great colour and great fun in your life.
Look, it's great if you're winning. You know, winning in Thurles yesterday, and all my family were there, and you know, so it was the only time our family comes together is during matches. You know what I mean? So that's a great thing to have your family there with you, and you know, to celebrate and that, but also to see all the young kids from Cork there yesterday with their jerseys on, their hurleys, their skaters, you know, so that these young Cork players are developing a new culture here within Cork of, you know, for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And there's a lot of talent here within the county, but they need success as well at senior level to cement that. So, you know, they're the enjoyable aspects of it. You know?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, listen, 4 weeks will come around very quickly, John. Thanks so much for your time this evening.
Yeah. Thanks a million. All right.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.